Purple sweet potatoes have fascinated me for a while. In fact, before our trip to Italy, I had already experimented with making purple sweet potato gnocchi at home. But when I saw beautiful purple sweet potato gnocchi in Italy, I couldn't stop thinking about those gorgeous colors and flavors. And that got me wondering, could I turn purple sweet potatoes into sourdough bread made with fresh milk flour? So I decided to take my tried and true sourdough sandwich bread recipe and transform it with roasted purple sweet potatoes. I was hoping for a soft loaf with beautiful purple swirls, but this recipe definitely had a few surprises in store. One of my favorite things about traveling is coming home inspired to create something new in my own kitchen. This wasn't about recreating the gnocchi. It was about taking the ingredient that inspired me and transforming it into something completely different. I imagined a soft sourdough sandwich bread with vibrant purple swirls running through every slice. To preserve as much color as possible, I decided to roast the sweet potatoes instead of boiling them. Once they were soft, I peeled and mashed them, revealing this gorgeous deep purple color. For this loaf, I am using 100% freshly milled hard white wheat flour. Fresh flour adds incredible flavor and nutrition, but it also behaves very differently from store-bought flour. Into the bowl went the flour, sourdough starter, soy milk, maple syrup, olive oil, and roasted purple sweet potato. To make the soy milk, I used the dried soy milk powder and some leftover whey water that I had from making paneer at home. I mixed some of the sweet potato directly into the dough for softness and flavor and saved the rest for the swirl. I combined all these ingredients with the flour and then I let the mixture rest for about 30 minutes. After that, I added some softened butter and salt to the dough and mixed everything well again. At first, everything seemed perfect. The dough had light lavender color and some specks of purple sweet potato, and I couldn't wait to see the finished loaf. But then came the stretch and folds, and things got interesting. Normally, by the second or third stretch and fold, my sourdough sandwich dough becomes smooth and elastic. This time, the dough kept tearing. I had changed several things at once. I added roasted purple sweet potato, increased the hydration, and was still working with 100% fresh milled flour. But that's the reality of recipe development. Sometimes the most exciting ideas don't behave the way you expect them to. Instead of giving up, I decided to trust the process and keep going. Once the dough had rested, I spread the remaining sweet potato filling over the dough and rolled it up, hoping these beautiful swirls would survive the bake. Even after shaping, the dough looked rough and uneven, completely different from my usual sandwich loaves. At that point, I honestly wasn't sure whether this experiment was going to work. At this point, I still had no idea whether the bread would rise properly or whether all that purple color would disappear in the oven. Into the oven they went, and slowly the loaves began to rise and turn golden. And now, for the moment of truth. Have you ever come from a trip inspired to recreate something in your own kitchen? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy fresh meal flour recipes and sourdough experiments, don't forget to subscribe to FitFab with Food. After all the uncertainty, it was finally time to slice into the bread. Would the purple swirl survive? Would the texture still be soft? Or had my Italy-inspired experiment completely failed? Color softened during baking, but the swirls remained, and honestly, I couldn't stop smiling. After all those torn folds and rough-looking dough, this loaf turned into something I never could have predicted. Every experiment teaches me something new about baking with fresh milled flour. It's amazing how one ingredient can travel with you from my kitchen to Italy and back home again in the form of an entirely new recipe. This bread definitely challenged me, but that's what makes baking so rewarding. And here's the funny thing. Even though both loaves came from the exact same batch of dough, they turned out differently. One loaf had bold, dramatic purple swirls, while the other looked softer and more subtle. That taught me that even small differences in shaping and filling can completely change the final result. If I make this recipe again, and I definitely will, I will reduce the amount of sweet potato mixed into the dough and keep more of it for the swirl. I will also skip the extra water I added this time because the sweet potatoes contribute much more moisture than I expected. Recipe development is really just a series of delicious experiments.